an update now and more fallout in the case of the Chicago grade school principal. There he is, and he is not watching the kids. He was caught on camera having sex with a fellow teacher and also getting romantic with a teacher's aide, 2 women during school time. The principal has resigned, but now there are some parents and school board members who are demanding that his license be revoked, and they're also asking the same for the teacher. Meantime, police are now trying to figure out who was it that planted that camera in the principal's office in the first place. Our legal panel, attorney Matthew J. O'Connor and family law attorney Kristen Pollack. Good to see both of you. All right, Kristen, let me start with you. The principal is in some hot water. He resigned. They want more from him. But what about the person that planted that camera when investigators find out who it is? In Illinois, will they be in trouble?
Well, yeah, I think they will. Trespass is against the law in Illinois. Of course, it's not going to be that serious. Trespass is usually a misdemeanor, so you're looking at a few hours or maybe a few days in jail and a fine. But let's face it, this is creepy. If that person can get in to put a camera in the principal's office, then they can just as easily do it in a girl's bathroom. In Illinois, there's also a video voyeurism law, but it only applies to tanning salons and bathrooms, so it wouldn't apply in this case.
Well, Matthew, you know, Kristen brings up a point that's more horrifying than anything I had thought of, that there could be cameras someplace else or they would have had access. But I think they did a public service, at least exposing, no pun intended, this principal. Maybe it was even someone else, another teacher that he might have been involved in. What do you think will happen to him? They want to revoke his license.
I think there's a pretty good chance of that, mainly because of all of the media coverage, and that's probably a good thing in this case. And also I want to point out, it is a violation of federal law to place a recording device in a place where you are not actually going to be a person who is involved in the conversation. So that he's facing some federal violations, including whoever placed this camera, he or she, and a civil lawsuit. But here, let me shoot you the 3 pointers on this. Number one, anybody who has sex with an employee in the workplace is committing per se sexual harassment, okay? Number 2, it shows a complete lack of judgment for this principal, who should not be allowed to be around children, because obviously he's got some sex problems. And number 3, the guy was an idiot for not apologizing to his wife first, and then then apologizing to the parents and the school board. So this guy has a complete lack of judgment.
All right. You know what? No question, capital letters on that bad judgment. I just hope he didn't plant the camera as a souvenir video, but investigators are trying to figure that one out. Let's move on to another topic, an audio tape that was released this week. Alec Baldwin calling his young girl. Anyone involved in a divorce knows that it can be strained. He had this appointment to talk to his daughter. It didn't work out. You know, Kristen, he lost his cool. Should he lose visitation rights?
Well, apparently he has, temporarily at least. You know, this is the worst of the worst, but these things happen every day in a divorce case. And I think what, to me, is more horrifying is that this information was actually released. And if the mother, if Kim Basinger was involved in releasing that, she should be jailed. I mean, the judge needs to put her in jail. This can't continue this way. It's only going to damage that child.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit. Catherine in Port St. Richie, this is what some of our viewers think, said that she's not a Baldwin fan, but she thinks the tirade shows how much he loves his daughter. That's one approach. And then Diane in Clarkson, Kentucky says no matter the use of the language is evidence that he's a ticking time bomb, he should not get visitation. Matthew, what's the law?
Well, I think the law is if it's not in the best interest of the child, or could be emotionally harming. But I have to agree 100% with what she said. If Ms. Basinger is allowing this tape to get out, then she could be in contempt. There's actual order, a gag order in effect, that they're not supposed to do this kind of thing. So I think that is number 1. But number 2 for this, I think it shows a complete disrespect on his part. Anytime you tell a child whose mother is Kim Basinger, for goodness sake, that she's a fat pig, quote unquote, I think you've got some problems. The other thing that's a reality check is...
Divorces are messy, and, you know, there's two sides. Obviously, one viewer wrote me, Anita Morgan, she wishes we wouldn't even talk about it. She thinks that's even more damaging to this 11-year-old child. Thanks for being with us. Kristen, Matthew, good to see you. Got to go.
Thank you.
There are just